Hello, beloveds. Welcome to another episode of Self Discovery. And this is your host with the mostest, the one and only Dr. Mojisola Edu. And today we have the phenomenal marketing genius, the one and only Treasure Owens, live in the building of Treasure Marketing. And they are taking businesses to the next level. Also, a fellow veteran. Shout out to the Chi Town. Y'all doing it real big over
All
there.
right.
Real shout out to the veterans and the Black Veterans Expo. Also the founder of that is growing and it's expanding so big and supporting veterans and getting jobs, networking, also publicizing a lot of businesses. And we're going to talk about Treasure's strength, her perseverance, and how she became who she is today. And Treasure, you want to say a couple little words before we get into our affirmation?
Well, first off, hi. Thank you for tuning in and coming to hear my story. Um, and also, thank you for sharing my story. Um, I'm excited to have a conversation with you. You helped me along my journey so much. I just remember sleeping out of my car in North Carolina and just be like, I need to get back home. And you just being in my ear and just being a supportive help for me. So, you know, that's all I have to say. But I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Oh, well, you already know. I'm just grateful and I'm just happy about you just winning. And that's what it's about in life is winning and supporting one another. We have to have each other back in this world. This world is crazy, but we gotta have each other's back. So today's affirmation says, let me be still today and listen to the truth in silence. Let me be still today and listen to the truth in silence. How does that resonate for you, Treasure?
Let me be still today and listen to the truth in silence. Well, to be honest, that's probably the perfect affirmation for me today because I just feel like that's kind of like where I have been lately. Like usually, me and one of my friends will sit down and we'll work together, just kind of like that accountability. But lately, I was like, I actually need some time to myself. I need some time with me and God. Really, just me and God right now, because I need to make sure that like I am listening to my voice and I'm also hearing what He's calling me to do next, versus kind of like listening to everybody else around me. I need to go back into a little bit of isolation so that I can hear Him clearly, because I feel like sometimes I can get very reliant on those that are around me when I really need to be listening to what He's telling me to do next. So that is what I got from that. Mm-hmm.
Amen. You already know what it is. And we definitely have a direct connection to God. I don't believe we need a middleman. I feel like we already divinely connected to God. We have to just sit still and listen. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that was a beautiful affirmation for today. And so talk to us, Treasure. You are phenomenal and you are a powerhouse.
Thank you. Thank you.
You think outside the box and you are an amazing connector. You have the ability to draw out people's strengths and bring them together to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always had a mind like this since you were a child? What was your thought process? Did you always think of something bigger than yourself since you were little? And did you have role models, or is this something that was deep within you since you were a child?
Um, I think it's a mixture of it all. I did have some role models. I was a part of this mentorship group called Ladies of Virtue. And so I had a mentor, Tatiana Roberts, as well as Jamila Tremule. Her name is now Tremule. She's married now. But like, I I had those role models growing up, and then they taught us like things like public speaking. We did like service learning projects. We did like dining and etiquette classes, and then we also did immersion visits. So we got to see like different ways that other Black women specifically live. Like I remember going to I can't remember her name, but it was a news anchor, and I remember she lived in Lincoln Park, And that's like when you are, I'm gonna say, poor technically, or whatever you want to call it, when you're low income, especially in Chicago, you just think of like places downtown or just like any further than that. Anywhere up north is like inaccessible. I can never live here. I can never be that type of person. But we got to see that people are living those lives. There are other routes to success, other thing like what I'm seeing to my right and my left, just within my neighborhood, the confines of my neighborhood, versus like the greater Chicago where Ladies of Virtue kind of had us. And so I had those role models, and they're very successful in their careers, and continue to be successful and continue to work with the youth. So I had them. I had um, I had them, but it was also external factors that I felt like kind of got me to the point where I was able to just see the strengths in other people and just kind of work together to figure out like how we can leverage each other's strengths. And I think that I also learned that from like being in like clubs, joining like teams like track and stuff like that. Like I felt like that's where that leadership and that teamwork and that just being able to decipher those skills came from, like a multitude of just everything that happened in my life.
So you had like multiple influences and stuff to at least take those different pieces and everything to help with the trajectory of like your mindset of what you were going to do in the future. Um, Definitely played a role. So what inspired you to get into the military during that time when you decided to go there?
Well, to be honest, so my brother, one of my older brothers, actually, I have like, my dad has like 36 kids. Okay. But one of my older brothers, he was in the Navy. And I just remember being like, oh, I just want to be just like him. I don't know why specifically he shined to me out of all of my siblings, but he just did. And I just thought that that was like one of the most honorable things that you could do, serve your country. And my great granddad, he also served in the military. So I think it was just like kind of looking at them. And then I knew I always wanted to be in the military. So I applied to like the GROTC schools. Like I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Bronzeville Military Academy or something like that. I applied there. I got in. My mom never told me. And my mom never told me because she tried to go into the military and she should get out at MEPS. So I guess she just didn't want me to go that route, or I don't know what her situation was. But at the end of the day, I knew that that was always a path that I wanted to go in. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. And when I found myself in a position where I was not going to be graduating on time, I was like, okay, I'm not going to graduate on time. I only have half a scholarship to the schools that I wanted to go to. Like every school that I applied to, they probably gave me like half rides, but never a full ride. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for the other half. So let me just go see what this is like, and see if this is something that I wanted to do. I went there. I was going to be a thing. I can't even remember the MOS that I was going to choose, but I know I was going to be reserves. And then like the day before I was supposed to raise my right hand, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go active duty. What jobs do you have for that? Intel? Okay, which jobs? And then they had something about like language learning or something like that, like an interpreter. But they said that it was too late to go test for that school or something along those lines. So I was like, okay, well, intelligence analyst it is. I'll go for that. Let's do it. 3 years.
Wow. And thank you for your service. And also congratulations on your graduation too.
Thank you.
So
I think I'm about to get into these graduate programs. I'm using my Illinois veteran grant. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's pray, because I feel like so far I haven't gotten any acceptance letters yet, but I only did it like maybe like a week or two ago. So as far as the applications, but my admissions counselors for each of the schools that I applied to, it just like they've been really responsive with me, and they just like are always calling me like, hey, do you have any questions? Hey, this is up at the board now, just keeping me informed. I really think I'm going to get into NIU. I pray to God, because that's the school that I'm like really like, that is the one that I want to go to, because they have everything that I want. They have the marketing program. They have I wanted to get a degree in supply chain as well. So I'm getting my MBA at the end of the day. but where I'm concentrating is the most important thing there. And then outside of that, even once I'm done with that degree and I decide to go on to the next degree, they have what I'm looking for in the future. So that's why I'm like, whew, NIU, let's go.
You're definitely going to get it. You're amazing, and I think you'll be a great asset to the school. Um, and you've worked through so many different things in your life. What were some of the challenges? Because a lot of people think that transition from the military is an easy thing, especially for Black and brown people. Like,
Yeah.
like sometimes you feel like you're thrown to the wolves, and I know it wasn't easy for me also back in the day. So it's like they think that everything is given to you and stuff, but it's if you're not in the right installation, sometimes it could be officer heavy or it could be NCO. And sometimes, people can check off your stuff and said you got all the information and you didn't, you know.
Mm.
So it's not always that supportive. What were some of the challenges you faced transitioning, getting out into military, and then some advice you would give people transitioning now?
Okay. Oh God, taking it back to COVID, because that's what I was coming out in the middle of COVID. It was in 2020. I remember I was supposed to be ETSing in May, and I was like, I just got to get up out of here because it just felt like I was stagnant, or I was just like, I just kept like God just kept challenging me. And I got demoted when I got to my first duty station, and then I just had the hardest time from there. Like before that, I did have some challenges, just sexual harassment and sexual assault. You're the only Black woman, or just the only woman in general, like in the vicinity half the time. So especially with like being in the intel community, it's male dominated. And so I was running into those type of challenges, but I was still, headstrong. Like I was still doing pretty good. I was doing sergeant major challenges. I was just always doing correspondence courses. I was just always trying to stay afloat, but at the same time, it's like my personal life versus my career life was not at a balance, and I feel like that's kind of where one I fell short. Um, I just wish that I would have, paid more attention to why I came into the military and what I wanted to get out of it. And just really keeping on that path of where I was headed versus like where I currently was. Cause I feel like I just kind of like got used to just being like, okay, well, I'm gonna be here for 20 years. So I'm gonna just kick back and let the time pass for time and grade and time and service. And then just being, what is that word that they call it? Complacent, I think is the word. Um, yeah. So anyway, once I got to the point of just at the finish line and I'm ready to get out, I didn't really have a plan on what I was going to do when I got out. I just was like, I'm going to go to school. I can't do this no more. I just need to get up out of here. And I remember I was just getting so much pushback from one of my sergeants. And he was just like, he was really abusive to me too. Like he just kept putting his hands on me and I just was not going for that. But anyway, so this guy, he would just be like, oh no, you can't go to SFL tap and just all of this stuff. And like every time I tried to go to a course, he would try to stop me. So I remember I applied to get, or I was talking to my doctor. I was like, I want to get a breast reduction before I go, like, because I knew that like we only got one surgery, so I'm like, I'm gonna try to do that. And then during that time, like I was very strategic in a very messed up way. I'm like, okay, if this is the way that I need to go to be able to go to SFL tap and do the things I need to do, then that's what I'm gonna do. So I went under the knife. I got my surgery, and don't get me wrong, I did have back problems. I was still going through that stuff, but I don't think that it was to the point of me actually needing that surgery, like diring need of it, especially right then and there. But I just knew that that was the way that I could get to SFL tap. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go on convalescent leave and I'm gonna go to SFL tap. Hello.
Yeah, I think you
Sorry,
lost.
I got a call.
Okay.
I got a call, but essentially that was my plan. And that's what I did, and I was able to go to there. But my thing was, even going there, they were just like trying to check off a box. It wasn't necessarily like they were trying to really teach me anything. When it came to the budgeting part, they're like, oh, just put anything down. I don't want to just put anything down. I'm still having budgeting problems to this day because you just let me put anything down. Like, what is going on? And so first off, what I will say is if anybody's going through a situation like that where you are constantly running into problems with your leadership, they're not letting you go to SFL type, or they're just not letting you do what you need to do to properly transition. What is that thing that we used to do? Put in a IG complaint. Do whatever you need to do to get that situation resolved. I know that that's leaving on a bad note, but it'll get better. I promise you. The veteran community is more welcoming anyway. So don't get too strung up on, oh, I don't want to burn bridges here. You can build new bridges. And if they're already burning bridges with you, then hey, but you need to be able to go through SFL TAP. You need to be able to get those resources accessible to you, and just be able to transition the best way that you can. Once I got out and I was in the National Guard, I didn't have a full plan. So I was underhoused, I was underemployed, I did not have my plan together. So in those times, I will say I'm glad that my unit was just very supportive of me. And that was the first time I had actually went to a unit that was actually supportive of my career. The National Guard was just more supportive in general. And I haven't ran into, or I'm not going to say haven't because I'm out now, but I hadn't ran into really any strong issues while in the National Guard and in the North Carolina National Guard of all places. Okay, you would think like some things would, okay, you know where it is, like that's in the South. So, but that's not what happened. Like everybody was super supportive. My first sergeant, everybody, they helped me with housing for a short period of time when I was like, just hopping from room to room. But I still wasn't able to get on my feet, and I just kept trying to get on my feet, could not do it. And then eventually I just decided to come back home to Chicago. I stayed with my mom for some time. I did whatever I needed to do. I would rent hotel rooms. I would sleep in my car, whatever I needed to do. And this lasted for a full year. So they housed me for about maybe like 3 months. Okay. But this is a full year of like all of that. But some resources that did help me, Volunteers of America, definitely reach out to them. The VA did not help me off the bat, especially the one in North Carolina. They did not help me. They were like, you make too much money because I was on 90% VA disability. Thank God I had that in the first place, because if I didn't, I had already burnt through my savings within probably like the first 3 months or 3 or 4 months of living down there in North Carolina. So yeah, it was just a mess. They was not willing to help me. And then when I came to Chicago, this VA was willing to help me. They told me, if you go stay in this homeless shelter for about a month, we can get services for you. Volunteers of America was one of them. And then there were other services. I can't remember all the names of them at this time, but there are resources out there. There's actually housing complexes in other locations too. I think it's like some type of transition at home down there in Texas. Like they're all over the place. You just have to do your research to be able to find those things. And the VA may not be able to help you, but that's when you reach into the veteran community and you rely on people like Moji and everybody else around you to help you. So just really connect with the veteran community. That's what truly helped me better transition.
Definitely. I'm so proud of you. So I'm so proud of you, Treasure, because there's a lot of people that don't survive that transition, and people don't talk about that. That transition is like one step of you. It can make you or it can break you. You know,
Yeah.
especially if the military has given you everything, told you how to dress, all these different things, gave you your financial supplies and all these different things, and are supporting. If you have a family, supporting your family and everything like that. And now you're telling me that I don't get all of that when I get out. Now I gotta work with half of the money I was receiving, and I don't have no place to stay. And you're not giving me access to the resources that I thought that you was going to give me.
Okay.
I gotta figure it out myself. I'm like, wow, okay. At least I'm just grateful that we were able to connect. But during the time when I was going and being homeless with my daughter, it wasn't even like that. And there was like so much anger in me during that time, because it was like, especially for my black and brown people. We should not. No one should have to go homeless. No one should have to be searching for a place when you serve this country, and we still have people suffering. So just like Treasure says, make sure the VA doesn't know everything. I mean, there's some VAs that have some access, but if we don't, as veterans, stand up and ask for what we want, they won't give it to us. So, especially for the black and brown people, make sure that you reach out, or any veteran, reach out to your community, those who have done it before, and make sure that they have the resources and ask them. Closed mouth don't get fed, and don't ever feel ashamed as a veteran out here to ask for help. Because I surely did, and Treasure did, and we all ask for help because we can't do it by ourselves in this world. We can't do it by ourselves. Now, Treasure, what are some of the things that life lessons that you learned through your journey that you feel that you want to share with the people out here? Like, those the biggest highlights, the biggest life lessons that you want people, and advice you want to tell them in your life journey, and just discovering yourself and learning who you are and owning your power, especially in this stage of your life now.
I will say this: at every stage, I am continuing to relearn myself. Okay, coming off of active duty to the National Guard, that was a transition in itself. I had to get used to not being called Owens or rank Owens or whatever, and get used to being called by my name. Going from the National Guard to now, um, I mean, just being called by my name, that's normal stuff to me. But now it's just kind of like, okay, I'm going from, I feel like, kind of girlhood to womanhood. I'm 26. I'm very hard on myself, which I'm still working on to this day. I feel like maybe I think it was like January. I was like, I'm having an early midlife crisis. Like I don't know what's going on anymore. But what really helped me is just transparency through every stage of life, just being as transparent as possible. When I was homeless and I was underemployed and things like that, I had to be transparent about that. Hey, I'm going through this. And I had to be transparent with the veteran community and just people who I did not know, but I was able to rely on them because I was transparent in what was going on. And it's like, on one note, I was like hiding what was going on to others. It just depended on the environment. So I was transparent within our community, but I was kind of like hiding what was going on when I would go to, like, let's say, networking events and things like that. I would dress really, really nice to grab people's attention and just kind of be a conversation starter. But also, like, I did that to kind of compensate for how I was feeling inside about the situation that I was in. But then on one note, I could kind of see that can't possibly deter somebody from even wanting to give me a job anyway, because it looked like I'm straight. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's like, no, and I don't think that you should look like what you're going through. Don't get me wrong. However, even in those moments, still being transparent, like, hey, yes, I know I look like this right now, but I'm telling you right now, I just don't look like what I'm going through. I ain't got nowhere to go tonight. Like, okay, like, just being transparent in those moments, that has really helped me throughout this entire process. Whenever I need something, sometimes I have to fight myself to be able to post it and be like, hey, I need help with this or I need help with that. But you got to do it because you're not going to get anywhere alone. It just doesn't work like that. Of course, you can rely on God, but He needs you to make steps so that He can open those doors for you. He brings those people into your life for a reason. He's bringing them there to help you, but they can't help you if they don't know what's going on. So that's the biggest thing that I would say is super important to get very comfortable with. Can you repeat the question? I want to make sure that I fully answered it.
Just basically, like, what are some of the key, like, highlights, like, lessons that you learned through your transition in your life, like, in this journey you're in right now? Some key points for people, some life lessons for you to share with the world.
Okay. I would say another thing that I've learned is really forgiveness. Oh, God. Let me tell you that one. Oh, when I was coming from active duty to the National Guard, I had a chip on my shoulder. Even while on active duty still, I had the biggest chip on my shoulder. I was upset from my childhood. I was upset from what was going on currently at the time. And I was just so angry. I was angry because of I was angry at myself, and I was angry at the other people. I was angry at myself because of experiencing sexual assault and harassment, because I just felt like, we got our different responses and stuff like that, like fight, flight, or freeze, right? And a lot of times I would freeze. And so I had to forgive myself for that. Like, you did the best that you could with the information that you had at the time that you had it. You did the best that you could in those moments. And so I had to just tell myself that, and that kind of helped me push past, the things that I was involved in. I had to forgive myself for not, focusing on my future, and, like on the weekends, I would party. Well, like after work and stuff like that, I would drink a lot. I was just all over the place, just trying to compensate in just the wrong ways. Always trying to compensate in the wrong ways. And I had to just forgive myself for that. Even now, I just graduated with my bachelor's. My friends graduated with their bachelor's probably around like 23, 21, 23. I don't even, what is it? 18 plus 4. Yeah, about 22 actually. So they graduated. They were already done with their master's, but I have to remember I had a career as well. So it's not like that comparison. What they say, comparison is the thief of joy. So not only forgiveness, but letting go of that comparison too, and forgiving yourself even when you do find yourself in the moment of comparing yourself to others in a way that you think that things shoulda, woulda, and coulda went. It is what it is at that time. Take it for what it is and push forward. Um, really just forgiveness. I had to forgive those around me for the things that I felt like that they did to me, but I also had to take accountability of what I could have done better. But even beyond that, I just had to forgive them, not for them, but for myself. I can't keep sitting back and thinking about, oh, this person did this horrible thing to me, I'm gonna get them back one day. Like, it's just all this crazy thoughts that was going on in my head. Like, girl, get a grip, okay? Because this is really starting to take over your mind every day. You can't even accomplish anything because your mind is so set forth on what has happened in the past. And talking about like the things that have happened in the past and just getting stuck there, it was like 2020. I realized I'm still stuck in 2018. I'm still stuck on me getting demoted. I'm still mad about that. I'm still mad about how they treated me once that did happen. I'm still mad about, the things that I let slide and just all these different things. But it's like, live in the present moment. Live in the present moment. Take everything in for what it is. Forgive yourself for the things that you fell short on. What can you do better in the future? Start mapping that out. Right now, I actually had to revert back to something that I did in 2020. This morning, I sat down and I wrote out my stressors. These are the things that are stressing me out right now. Okay. What can I do to alleviate them? So I wrote stressors at the top, and then I wrote remedies at the bottom. Okay. This is what's going on. Here's some solutions that I'm aware of that are possible, so I can start knocking them out. Okay, let me try this. Okay, it didn't work. Let me try something else. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, now I actually need to rely on the community because clearly I don't know how to solve this issue and it's stressing me out. It needs to be resolved. So how else can I get it resolved? Let me talk to God. Let me isolate myself for a moment and be alone. But don't isolate yourself for too long, because I promise you, it get real comfortable. You'd be like, I don't want to deal with nobody. But we all have to remember, everybody's shit stinks, including your own. So don't sit up there being like, oh, I'm all high and mighty because I'm going on this spiritual journey and nobody's, they're not up to speed or whatever. So what? Let people go at their pace, but just navigate in a way that you need to for yourself. Always don't put yourself first to the point where you are not considering anybody else, but do put yourself first and think about what you need for your self-care and what do you need to carry on in the future, and just like push forward through all of that. That's what I had to do. What's that song, Bag Lady? I had to let go of the bags. That was me. So I hope that piece of information is helpful.
Lord. Ooh, that's what we talk about, forgiveness. Forgive thyself and forgive others where we had control and where we didn't have control. And
Yeah.
be that same version of that person, And like I said, it takes a lot of courage to forgive. It's
Mm-hmm.
not easy. So that was powerful. Those are some powerful, powerful key tips for people out there that are going through their own personal journey. Trying to figure it out. We are all a work in progress. We trying to figure it out. And and bless our generations before us, they was trying to figure it out too. And it's still companies and other people out there trying to figure it out. And it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay not to have it all together. But um to be authentic and to show your truth is so much power in that, Treasure. So thank you so much for sharing that wisdom. Even reconciliation is about deliberation for ourselves, right? And was talking about your wonderful website. Before we get more into the conversation, check out treasuremarketing.com, and you'll find all the information you need about branding, PR, everything that you need for your business. You don't have to do everything by yourself. You can holler at Treasure and she will get you set right. Okay.
Surely will. Surely will. That's what we do over here.
Definitely.
Okay.
So Treasure, talk about the Black Veterans Expo. Like, this is huge. This is big. It's expanding. People are flying out. What made you start this and say that this is a need right now in this moment?
Hmm. Well, this is what I will say for starters. That was on my vision board for like 2 whole years. Because I was just, one, I was looking at the Black Women's Expo and I was like, we really need this or something equivalent within the Black veterans community. One, I remember when I was going through, underemployment and underhousing, the people who helped me the most was people that looked like me. Okay. Don't get me wrong, other veterans were very helpful to me as well. But the people who were like really calling me every day and making sure I was good and just like really, really doubling down on making sure that I was safe where I was parking my car to sleep or whatever was going on, making sure that I was straight, were people that looked like me. And then as I was traveling, and because don't get me wrong, during that time, I had nowhere else to go, but I'm like, okay, if what I learned was one of the reasons that I was getting denied back to back to back. Yes, it was my education. Some jobs were saying like it was because I didn't have a bachelor's degree or whatever. So then I went to school, dual enrolled, and then some were just like I needed recommendations, and I'm like I was kind of shy in the military again. I was going through all of that. I was battling my mental health. I was just really going through it. So I would isolate myself a lot. Yes, I would party on the weekends with a few people that I talked to, but outside of that, I didn't really socialize at work. I didn't really come in the military to build a network or anything like that. I came in to serve. But other people, they keep those things in mind, and that's super important, especially living in this capitalist society. So anyway, once I learned about the concept of networking, I actually went to a veterans to industry online, like a virtual networking event. And so once I learned about that concept, I said, oh, okay, so that's what it is. Like, I just don't know anybody. And then people started giving me referrals and things like that to get to jobs. I still wasn't getting in, but that was really just God's plan and how he wanted me to go to get to where he's taking me. But anyways, during that time period of after learning that concept, I just started traveling. I said, okay, well, I got my car. At one point, I went on ADOS orders. So I'm okay. So this weekend, I wasn't partying anymore. I wasn't into all of that at that point. I was really just on my grind. What can I do to better what's going on in my situation? Really, what can I do to better my situation? Okay, cool. If I got to drive over here to go to this networking event, that's what I'm going to do. If I got to drive over here to go to this thrift store to find me some clothes to wear, that's what I'm going to do. But in those travels, I would run into people, and I was just running into just the most amazing people ever. Like, I'm like, what the heck? And again, as starstruck as I was as a kid, like going to these immersion visits with Ladies of Virtue, it was the same. I was going through that same experience. Like, wow, people really live great lives. Mine is terrible, but everybody else's life, like, okay, so cool. How can I get more around these people? I want to hear their stories. I want to hear how you got to where you got to. I would look people up. I would do Boolean searches, all kind of stuff, just find people. Okay, you're over here and in this state, and this is what you do. Okay, I want to hear your story. And some people would be like, okay, well, you need to come here in person. Okay, well, I'm gonna drive over there. Whatever it took to hear their story, to get their point of view, to learn the things that that they did to get to where they're going, because I believe that there's multiple roads to the same destination. So I'm not just trying to hear from one person. I need to hear how a couple people got to the level of success that they got to, especially if it's in a similar industry that I want to go in. Let's say, because at one point I was trying to go into cybersecurity. I was calling it everybody in cybersecurity at different stages. Okay, you got a senior role, you got a mid-level role, you got an early entry role, or even an internship role. What does this look like, so I can start mapping out my career path the same way that some people do while they're still in the military? Okay, I need this amount of correspondence courses, I need these schools. I was doing the same thing, just I would say on the civilian side. And so as I was hearing these people's stories, and people would tell me the things that they still needed or were falling short on, or just the challenges that they were going through, I was like, okay, well, I know this person, and they told me that they already got past that challenge, so let me connect you with them. And I would do things like that. And I would continue to do that. I think the first time that I really kind of got serious about connecting with the Black veterans community, I would say that was probably I think 2022. But 2021, when I moved back to Chicago, I started kind of like small networking groups that kind of brought me along the way, because I would like meet all these just Black people in general, just Black business owners in general, not necessarily veterans, but I would meet Black business owners, and we would all try to go to like different networking events and stuff like that with each other. So I made a group chat. We called it Chicago's Next Multimillionaires, because that's what it was manifesting. Okay, like, you got to put that stuff into words. I'm like, okay, Chicago's Next Multimillionaires. All right, let's get the creative community here. We called it Creatives Connect Chicago. And I would network with creatives, I would network with business owners, and that's how we were going. And then once I realized, oh, I'm about to medically retire, I need to start connecting with the veterans community even more. I kind of stepped away from that. But then I reconnected with one of my friends who I served with as well. And I remember while we were in Korea, we used to host like Sunday dinners together with like the rest of really just the Black community. Like, I mean, we all kind of gravitate towards each other no matter the situation. Like, and so while we were doing that, I'm like, okay, yeah, like, actually, this would be the perfect person to bring in on this idea that I have about getting more Black veterans together, because we understand each other on every single level. When I'm in this therapy session, I'm with all these other veterans, but when I talk about my Black experience and what it was like for me to be a Black person, or maybe they don't even want us to talk about that, because it's so many people that are of different races in that specific therapy session. Like at the VA, I was in day hospital, and that was the situation there. They didn't really want us to talk about race, but I need to talk about race because that's what I experienced. And I was experiencing racism in the military, and I want to talk it out because I need to get that off my chest. I need to forgive them. I need to forgive myself. I need to get that out. And I just didn't have a safe place for that. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I got my friend. I said, we were both Intel analysts, so I know that we could get this done. And we started the Black Veterans Network, and then we did the first Black Veterans Weekend down in DC. I was going out there for her graduation. I said, hey, let's make this a weekend thing. Like, let's get all the Black veterans in the area. Let's have a happy hour, and let's just meet people. Like, let's just meet people who are on the same path as us. You have to get around people who are on the same path as you or on a similar path, but also know when to let people off at their destination. Everybody isn't meant to go with you the whole way. Some people are just meant to get off at this intersection, and then you keep going to where you need to go. But anyway, so we did the first Black Veterans Weekend. It was a success. It was great. We ended up falling out by the end of the weekend, unfortunately. But I kept it going. When I got back to Chicago, I was, of course, still, like I said, networking a lot. So I had a bunch of friends that were in event planning. I said, okay, what can I do? How can I leverage these people to, just kind of connect with each other? How can I more connect this community? And they were always throwing events. I said, well, have you ever thought about like using veteran vendors? And then I would just plug people in. Oh, you own a restaurant or a catering service? Well, this person over here, they have events. You should meet him. Like, you should meet her, whoever, and just things like that. And I would just help people in that type of way. And then I ended up helping Struggle Beer Bakery in Hyde Park. I went out there, I painted walls, whatever he needed to get done to get his business open, to get his doors open. That's what we did. He actually flew out some of his battle buddies as well who served with him. And I was just like, see, look at this Black, beautiful excellence. Like, just look at all of us here, like, and just accomplishing this together. And I just wanted to keep continuing that. And so I tried to figure out how can we keep doing that, even with some people who are still busy. And then I thought about the GRTC and RTC students. I'm like, okay, well, veteran can mean a whole bunch of things. Like, you got to think about, veterans of all eras, but the people who are still serving. And then what about people before they even get to the point of serving? Some people are already military minded. So let's start bringing them in. We can mentor them. They can work with us, and then we can just leverage each other's skills and things like that. And so I started teaching them marketing skills. I was working with Chicago State University and Morgan Park High School. I taught the I'm not gonna lie, I spent a lot more time with the high school students, and it wasn't like a preference, like, oh, I don't like the costume, but I ain't gonna lie, I did get a little bit triggered when I was working with them, and I think it was because I was still transitioning from to fully get out of the military at that point, because I was about to medically retire. But I think just like seeing the uniform, being in the uniform, just everything was it just kept coming up. But for whatever reason, I just felt more comfortable around the high school students. And I think it's because at one point I was a program facilitator as well. So I was already used to being around that age group anyway. So I taught them marketing skills. And they ended up raising $17,000 for their program. Their goal was $15,000. Thank you. So that was like one of the highlights of that school year. Plus, Lieutenant Colonel Jamel Carr, he was just really like super supportive of me and just like throughout my entire journey. So I went where I was more comfortable. But next year, I'm definitely going to pay more attention to the college students. But anyway, I was like helping them get jobs. I was helping them with different skills, and just, connecting people in that way. And then the year came up and I'm like, okay, this is our second annual Black Veterans Weekend. I'm finishing school. This will be my year out of the military. It'll be my 1 year anniversary. What can we do to make this even more impactful? Then I was sitting at Struggle Beer Bakery with a guy who was in the Bunker Labs program with me, who I completely forgot about. Like, I ran into him by chance because my friend, she was trying to go into the police department or whatever. She was trying to like join the police. And we were at the gym just trying to like work out and stuff like that. I'm coming to my car and I meet this guy. He's like, oh yeah, we were in Bunker Labs together. I'm like, I don't remember you. And I usually remember faces. So anyway, we started talking. He told me that he had cancer and things like that. So we reconnected in that way. And he was just telling me about like how in DC, they would have like regular networking events, especially people who had like certified business owners. So certified minority business enterprise, woman business enterprise, service disabled veteran owned small business. And I had those same, well, actually, I didn't have those credentials at that time. I think I was on my way to getting those credentials. Like, I was like, okay, oh, cool. Let me hurry up and apply then. Let me just get this out the way and do it. But anyway, we were sitting in Struggle Beer Bakery, and he was like, just asking me about what I wanted to do in the future. I was telling him about my vision board, and he was like, I'm not going to leave here until you press send. So I made the graphics, I did everything, and I pushed it March 31st. June 21st was the Black Veterans Expo. Of course, we had the weekend over the 22nd and the 23rd, but as soon as we pushed that, my phone was ringing off the hook. Okay. I was getting calls from people in the state. I was getting calls from everybody. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Because first off, I was not prepared for all of this. I did not realize how much it would take, but I'm glad that we still pushed forward with the venture. Our goal was to tackle business and employment challenges, both business and employment challenges. So on the job side, we brought in community employment centers. And then, of course, we had veteran-owned businesses there vending their products and services. So if you need a job, this person is clearly successful, you might want to hit them up. You know what I mean? And of course, I invited the students who are in the program, or I guess our student pathway program is what I've been calling it as well. So we had everybody on that note, and we had a panel on addressing veterans homelessness and job security as well. So we had Sergeant First Class Janae Gamu fly out. He is the Western Deputy Director of Soldier for Life. We had Yvette Jones. She's been housing homeless veterans for 21 years. We had Gabrielle Pickens. She's actually building modular homes for veterans as well. And she's going to be working with Yvette Jones because Gabrielle has a history in media. So they're going to be working together since they're both in construction, but she has that extra skill that they're going to be leveraging to further that veteran community project. And then we also had Kevin Woods, I think his grandfather served, and he runs the Chatham Employment Center out here. And so we had people along those lines. So we had experts to talk about all the different aspects of homelessness and how to get a job and just, how to better transition. So we talked about that. And then on the business side, which of course I fall into that category. So yes, it was a lot more business resources because we were thinking about, well, what can we do to leverage businesses? Because before you even can get a job, sometimes we need to focus on the business. Because when you have more business, especially with those who have their certifications, you bringing in contracts into the community. So you're starting jobs. Do you see the order? Like, if that makes sense. So that's why we're really focused on the businesses, because they bring jobs. But anyway, we had a talk on supplier diversity programs, demystifying supplier diversity programs for commercial, corporate, and government contracting. And we had the CTA supplier. He was the director of diversity, Juan Pablo Prieto. We had Rashi Russell. She owns a cleaning company that actually has a contract with CTA. So of course we got to see those two different perspectives. And then we had Sean Redden of RS Solutions, the one who was sitting with me at that time when I was, posting about this in the first place. And we had Nathaniel Dillon, and him and his wife are a powerhouse. She sells her products. It's Matoy Sweet Treats. She sells her products out of the airports and things like that. So they're a powerhouse, and he owns a Microsoft SharePoint company as well. So he does like a lot of IT work, and he has done work with the FBI. He's done work with all these major companies. We had everybody in the room, okay? We had franchisers. We had everybody in the room. I'm telling you right now, it was so amazing, so impactful. So far, I've been hearing about people collaborating. Of course, I mentioned how Gabrielle and Yvette are going to be working together. I got a client in the midst of it as well, $5,500 a month client in the midst of that as well. Thank God. I've heard about the Veterans Business Project. I can't remember which company, because it wasn't PostNet Solutions that they used. At PostNet Solutions, she was on our franchisor panel, Dr. Tiffany Smith Allen. But I think they're using 3M printing services. I can't remember that guy's name, unfortunately. I know that's so horrible, but they're using their services and things like that. Like, we are we took advantage of the situation. We got into the room with each other, and now we are collaborating, and the results are impactful. And this has only been 1 month. It's only been 1 month away. So I can't wait to see what the next few months, what the next year will look like for the Black Veterans Expo, and what we continue to do to come together to build that community equity, to build our social capital, our human capital, our financial capital together. I cannot wait to see what this looks like. And so I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my team. I worked with my friend Ebony Davis, Sergeant Promotable. Uh, I worked with Beverly Fitz. She was actually the first female third district commander of the American Legion Post. Verna L. Jones. I worked with Quentin Brewington. He works with Black Diamond Charities, and they give us free project management certifications. And then also he has a company, I think it's called Genius Clean, down in Arizona. So he's doing major things in other states, okay? Because we're just big like that. Like, I just love to see those of us who are successful, because it just reminds me of what I needed, what I wish that I saw in those moments, and also what I did see, and also what I needed more to see while I was in that pit of just struggle. And, thinking about next month, I really would love to highlight, I really just want to go around the city and just probably take Sean Ransom with me, because he's a videographer, or maybe even Bakari. Take one of them out, and we just highlight all the Black veteran-owned businesses in the city of Chicago, and then take that on the road. Like, I thought of this whole thing called the Veterans Passport. So we might do something like that and just showcase, like, just Black veteran excellence. Just showcase all of us and all the things, and just hear everybody's story. I'm looking at a veteran right now. This guy's a Marine. I don't even know. I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. And we all have a unique story to share. And I just can't, I'm proud. I'm honored to be a messenger for these stories. I just can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be great. It's just gonna continue to build. Yeah.
Wow. You are a catalyst for change, and you are a disruptor, and it's needed. We haven't had nothing like this. This is a gem, and I love that. I think that Veterans Passport is going to be huge. I know it's going to be huge, because there's nobody highlighting Black veterans. Even when they have these big events, you have other organizations that do these networking events, but it's a small sector of us in the corner. Let's be honest, we in the corner somewhere.
Let me tell you something. And I don't want to take away from our community, but I'm going to say this. I need our community to stop being scared.
You better tell it.
Say that shit with your chest. Be proud to be Black, and be proud to be a veteran. I think that you can do both. I truly do. I'm not going to name any names. I'm just going to say that. Be proud to be who you are. Okay? I've been told so many times, are you sure? Or even asked, are you sure that you want to call it the Black Veterans Expo? That's going to alienate some people. People aren't going to digest that very well. I don't care. This is for us, and we clearly need it. Like, or else people wouldn't have been so excited about the idea. People wouldn't still be calling me today, like, how can I get a part of this? People need to know that it's for them. This is not, the name is not going to change. I don't care. I know that affirmative action is going away. I know that, what is it? The Minority Business Development Agency. One of these agencies is starting to open up to everybody. I know they sued the Fearless Fund. I don't give a damn. Okay, now all that means to me is that we need to start saving up, because a lawsuit is probably going to come. Okay. But anyway, at the end of the day, I'm like, no, we need to be proud of who we are, what we offer to this country, what we offer to our community, and things along those lines. We have to be proud of our culture. Like, I'm proud to be Black. It ain't never gave not proud to be Black.
Come on.
Never gave that. And so I don't know. I'm tired of being questioned about it. I wish that people would just let it be what it is. Stop questioning it. If you don't feel like this is for you to be able to come here and support this part of the community, then I don't know what to tell you, because everybody doesn't feel that way. We had a multitude of nationalities and races and things like that in the room. It wasn't exclusive. Yes, it was for us, but it was still open to the community, because at the end of the day, we ain't gonna get nowhere without the community. And not just the veteran community, our local community, our chambers of commerces and things like that. That's not just Black people. We're all working together. The point is to make sure that the Black veterans within this community know that there are resources here, and that those resources are also for them to use. Like, what is not clicking? I don't understand.
It's
You
true.
look at our panels, everybody was on it. We just wanted to hear the different perspectives. We just wanted access to the resources. So I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell people.
And you making them make sure that they're being seen and heard, where a lot of places they are not being seen and heard. So this is, the proof is in the pudding. A lot of people are checking off boxes, and even some of these VSOs that say they're representing and supporting diversity and Black and DEI and all this stuff. Like, I don't even want to get into that story about the whole deal, but like, you're checking off the boxes, and you're not, and we don't see our people there. I don't,
Okay.
I don't, we don't see our people. I don't see those faces. I see numbers. I see numbers that are fudged a little bit, but I don't see you.
Mhm.
You have one or two Black people, and then you said, "Oh, we serving the whole entire community." No, I don't see the representation. The VA is just starting to have representation on places and stuff. So like, this is needed. That's why I'm like, I'm grateful for you, Treasure, because even for our future generations, they need leaders like you to show them that, less we are here and we not going nowhere. And if you either gonna get with it, or you gonna be left in the dust. I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay.
You either gonna get with it, or you're gonna be left in the dust, because this is the thing. You need us regardless, because majority of people that spend are Black veterans. Most of the people that are doing a lot of big things are some Black veterans. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we need to have this merger, and we need, regardless, even if it says Black Veterans Expo, but that means that also you got allies out there. You want to tap into our network? Put the money where your mouth is. Point blank.
I
And
feel like it puts accountability on them, because
yes,
if you didn't see them in a room,
come on.
I promise you I reached out.
Come on. And that's it. That's it. So let's stop playing games, support a good cause, and support the return on investment is, you guys want to have more people hired, right? They're doing it. You saying you can't find people to hire in certain states, you can't find them. They have the plug. You're saying
Tired
you
of hearing that.
can't
Tired of
talent.
hearing that excuse or that lie. Matter of
You
fact.
you talking about you want to do partnerships for certified business, woman owned, veteran owned, disabled owned, minority owned, and they got access to it. So what's the problem? Make it make sense. So I challenge all of you out there that are in business, that are primes right now. Don't be selfish. Start supporting these businesses like this, man, because it's needed. And I can't wait till you take this across the nation. Not even across the nation, globally. To
It's
installations,
everywhere.
to
We're everywhere.
installations, everywhere,
Mm.
everywhere. Woo! I'm so excited. I'm excited about this journey. I know I did have somebody did send me a question because of the certifications, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the best ways, before we wrap up in a few, what are the best ways for veterans to go about certifications? Because we have this problem where veterans, they're excited about getting certifications. They either go through a third party, or they go to a wrong place instead of the actual SAMs, and they ended up paying buku dollars. And most of that stuff is a scam. You gotta go directly to Sam's and fill it out. And the protocol has changed in different ways. They're trying to make it as simple as possible. But and then another thing is the scam with a lot of people think that, oh, they gotta be an AA because they hear AA. Is they give you 9 years. If you're not already bringing in revenue, they're going to kick you out. So you got to make it make sense to be strategic about these things. And also the prodigy situation. Sometimes a lot of these big businesses are not working out with that also, because some of them, they want to have everything. They don't want to walk somebody hand in hand through the process. In regards to certifications, especially let's say women-owned businesses, what are the best ways for veterans now in regards to getting certifications, and why is it important for businesses now to diversify their streams of revenue?
Okay, let's get into it. First, this one I'm gonna say. When you are looking for any resources, you need to think about your identity, right? So I'm Black, I'm a woman, I'm a veteran. All those different things that describe me. I'm also in Chicago. So some things can be geographically based. Some things can be demographically based. Some things can be gender based. It just depends. So there's several resources out in the world. You just have to figure out, plug and play. Okay, I'm a woman. What resources are here for women business owners? All right, let me reach out to that specific one. Or like, let's say it's even Chicago. The Chamber of Commerce is always going to be your best friend, no matter where you stay. Okay, and if the Chamber of Commerce ain't stepping up, there's some type of business development center. It's just, you just gonna have to research it a little bit. Or even with the veteran community, there's the Veterans Business Project. There's bunker labs. And I'm not going to say that they always do the best job in every single category, because again, veterans, a lot can mean veteran, a lot of different things. Okay, we all come in different ages, sizes, skin color, all those different things. Okay, so you just have to figure out, try it. This resource is here, let me see how it works for me. It's not working for me. Okay, what's next? Never get deterred when you run into a situation where you thought that this one organization was going to be the best organization at it because they were best for somebody else. It might not be best for you. That's fine. Move on to the next one. Okay, so that's the first thing that I will say. For me, I got my Illinois business certification. So I got mine from the state of Illinois, and I got it from the SBA. The reason that I went those routes is because it's free. I went that way because it's free. But now when I'm trying to like think of doing business with the city of Chicago, or, certain contracts, they want you to have it from, like, they want you to have your business certifications from a certain place, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if that is what's statutorily written. I can't say that for a fact. So don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying what is coming out their mouth verbally as I'm talking to them. Now let's think about Bally's, right? They were like, okay, well, you need your city of Chicago certification. Bally's is that casino that they about to build up even bigger than what it is downtown right now. I want to do business with them. When you think about doing business, you got to think about what markets you want to get in as well. Do you want to do business to business, business to customer, business to government? I feel like we're doing kind of B2G and B2B, because we are like offering our services and stuff like that to other business owners, but I also want to offer it to the government. And when I think of business to business, I'm talking about like small businesses, but I'm also talking about like the corporate situation. But that's why we said, like, even with the expo, commercial, corporate, and government, because those is how we kind of broke it down. For me, diversifying my markets in which I'm in, when I think of marketing, I think of marketing whatever your thing is, whether that's cleaning, cooking, marketing itself, videography, whatever that is. Figure out a good market for it. If you ever seen that movie, Founder, I think is what it's called, that kind of covers the McDonald's situation and how Ray Kroc kind of stole that from the McDonald's brothers. One part of the movie, he talks to, I think, a lawyer, and the lawyer tells him, like, you are not doing financially well because you're not in the right market. Like, you think that you are selling burgers and you're in the restaurant industry. No, you are in the freaking real estate industry. What matters is you owning that land, because if you own that land, you could do whatever with it. This restaurant don't work out, you can start something else on it. If your business fell in a specific location, you can't pay your rent because you don't own that land. So you in the wrong market. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing that you need to be thinking about for your own business. Like, for me, marketing. I'm applying to get into, and they call it different. It's different terms depending on how you're doing business as well. When you think about B2B, B2G, B2C, all those different things, right? So far, what I've noticed is that they'll call it a vendor program or a supply diversity program. So whenever I'm reaching out, I'm asking, can I get a part of your vendor supply diversity program? Or can I speak to somebody in procurement? Whatever y'all got going on, I don't care what keywords y'all use it for it. I'm gonna say the top ones that I've seen. What do you got? How can I work with you is pretty much what I'm asking. So I applied to be into the vendor programs for different conference halls. Why? Because they're always throwing conferences there. So they have their preferred vendors, and sometimes they say preferred suppliers, or they'll have a system in which they do it. It just depends. Sometimes it's a platform, sometimes it's a software. It just depends, or it's a system. I know that all of that sounds complicated, but at the end of the day, I guess what would be more beneficial is to think about the different type of institutions out there, right? Like I said, conferences, school programs. I try to look for conglomerates. Okay, so Chicago public schools, right? Chicago public schools mean all the schools, all the public elementary schools in Chicago. So if I get into their vendor system, I can do business with all of those schools. Okay. You got to think about, try to find something where you can do business with multiple people after you apply it one time. Okay. That's why I thought about conferences, because they're always throwing events there. So that means I have a multitude of people who I could do business with, multitude of people who I could do videography and other PR, whatever they need, because people are always throwing it there. So I think of locations. I think of just conglomerates in that way, government programs out there. SAM.gov. I mean, it's so easy to apply for that. And if you have any issues, really just call. Sit on the phone with them for however long that take. I know that part can be the most annoying part, but sit on the phone for however long that take, okay? And as far as getting the business certification application done, reach out to free things, okay? I'm all about the free. I don't care. Okay, I'm reaching out to score.org, okay? I'm reaching out to my local urban I'm sorry, I'm part of the Union League Club Chicago, but there's also the Urban League Club. If I'm thinking about the right name, I hope that that's the right name. I'm so sorry, I'm part of so much stuff. But anyway, something along those lines. Reach out to whatever's free, any free business coaching. I'm trying to think again. The Veterans Business Project, that is free. Just look it up, like do a Boolean search. Business certifications, free. Who does it for free? I know some of these, I think it's like the women business, what is it? It's some agency that people get there. I think it's like WBENC or something like that, some acronym. I'm not going through them. I'm sorry. I know that they're doing what I'm describing. Like they help you connect with other like vendor and supply diversity programs, but I'm okay with doing that myself. If you don't want to do it yourself, you need somebody to get your hand the whole way, then reach out to programs like that. But some of them do charge for certain aspects of their services. Again, I'm in it for however I can get the most done for free. So I'm just looking at the different institutions, education, these things. And then as far as applying, it don't take that long. Whatever you ain't got, you just write a memo and say, I don't have it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait for them to respond. What you say?
I said you're right, because most of them they'll ask for like a letter of explanation and stuff, especially for the veteran service disabled. Like if you don't have the finances yet and you just started, they're gonna just say, I don't have the finances yet. So it's
we haven't been in business yet.
Yeah, you haven't been in business yet. And then and also like in Maryland, where I'm at, well, most of all states have a PTAC. It's so we have a Maryland PTAC that helps you, walks you through. It's a free program. You can do that. And like Treasure said, go to the SBA. They got all the trainings. They got thousands of trainings, and you can get your woman on. But they have a organization called Women in Policy WHIP that's out here too. But I say you can do all of this yourself. Just give yourself patience. And get a mentor, because I mean some people can spend thousands of dollars and still can't get their certification. So make sure that you're using, like Treasure said, the free resources, and do what you need to do, and make sure you fill out SAMs. I mean, at least go to SAMs and do that first. Connect directs and populates everything into SBA. So I mean, But there's so many free resources, like Treasure said, and then also you can reach out to Treasure too. She got connections, so
Yeah.
it's right there. So never be scared to reach out and ask for the resources that you need. And the last thing, Treasure, we always ask everybody this to end out is what would you tell the younger version of yourself?
I would tell her, calm down. Like, you stressing over nothing. Like, you really are. And even I tell myself today, calm down. Like, when has God not had your back? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we stressing for? Because everything is always working in your favor. I remember I was going to get my driver's license, and it was raining so hard that day. But earlier in the day, I had asked God. I said, "Hey, I just don't want the lines to be long. Like, the parking already expensive, so I just want to be out here for an hour, whatever." I get there, pouring rain, harder than it had ever rained the entire day. But that line was short. That line was short. So it might not happen the way that you want it to happen, but at the end of the day, he's always working in your favor. Whatever you ask, it is on its way. I'm living in the dream that I wanted once upon a time ago. I wanted to live in an apartment. I'm doing that. I wanted to have my degree. I got that. And now I'm on to the next one. Okay? Everything that I ever wanted, it came into fruition. Maybe not exactly when I wanted it to, but it happened. Okay? Or it's on its way to happening. So there's nothing to stress about. And so that's really what I would tell myself. Like, just keep looking forward to the future. I'm about to move up out of this apartment in 3 months. I don't know where I'm finna go. I don't have a house planned out, but I bet you for sure, come around October, I'm gonna be in a house. Okay? Like, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but now I'm gonna start packing and preparing myself for it. You got to prepare yourself to win. So not only stop stressing, but prepare yourself to win, because you never know when the opportunity is going to come. I told myself a few weeks ago, I said I'm going to do, I was using the Harvard Business Review life strategy. I said, okay, I know I want to have some speaking engagements. I want to do some pitch competitions and start applying for more grant opportunities. I want to apply to more, of course, supply diversity programs and things like that. And that's what I'm doing. What am I on the call right now doing? A speaking engagement. It may not be a speaking engagement on a stage like what I thought, like that's what I was writing, but it is still what I wanted. And it's preparing me for those moments. Everything that you do every day, it all accumulates. It all accumulates to where you're trying to go. This moment needed to happen. This conversation needed to happen. I don't know who this conversation is for. I don't know who this conversation is going to impact, but it was along my path. And I'm going to continue to have opportunities to share my story, and I'm going to continue to be able to impact people, and you're going to be able to do the same thing. And that's just how life is. Stop stressing. Don't worry about it. Just prepare to win.
Oh, and on that note, everybody prepare to win. Come on now.
Prepare to win.
Oh
Seriously.
man, just sending some love to all of our inner childs. May they continue to strengthen us, because I feel like that strength and harnessing that inner child to give us strength before the world got crazy. To be free, to be daring, and just be ready to win at all times, no matter how it comes. We're gonna win. We got this. So like I said, I'm so proud of you, Treasure, and make sure that you all check out the website treasuremarketing.com. You heard it here, you seen it here, you know what it is. It's about that business, and support it, and spread the word. And we'll have some snippets on IG a little bit, and share it and comment, and leave your comments. And any last words, Treasure, for the people out there before we wrap this up?
Just keep going. Please keep going. It gets better. It gets better. Even if it don't look like it is in that moment, it will get better. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Treasure. We're so honored to have you on the show today for self-discovery. And remember, we're all discovering ourselves, and we are all becoming and finding that true version of ourselves authentically. And I'm proud of everyone out here. We are here trying to make it work. And at the end of the day, life may throw you a curveball, but you're always in charge of the direction it goes. Join us next time for the next self-discovery with your host, Dr. Mojisola Adu. And we're out. Love, peace, and enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself.